Here is a video presenting what I believe are the best mods from the 2024 ModJam, organized by MCreator and CurseForge. Some of these mods did not participate in the voting for the top 5 selected for various reasons. The video is late, but here it is. I hope you enjoy it. Metals of Gielinor is an armor mod that you can find in the Vanilla tab. It features several different armors, some with colorful designs. All are made from various materials, some obtained by defeating monsters and others from minerals found in caves. The armors are inspired by Rome, mainly due to their helmet designs. In addition to the armors, we also have shields, maces, swords, and tools made from these new minerals. This mod adds events that occur at a random hour each new day in Minecraft. A notification of the event will appear on the screen. Some of the events include low gravity. All players can jump much higher than usual and have slow fall. This allows you to temporarily reach previously unreachable areas, making it easier to climb mountains. Artifact hunt. In the chat, you can see the coordinates where a chest with equipment may appear. Hurry or you'll miss out on special items like the shockwave hammer, a huge weapon capable of making an area hit on the ground with a right click, or the cloud strider boots, which allow you to perform a very short double jump. Acid rain. During this event, you must run for cover and avoid open areas, as the rain causes damage upon contact with players. Finally, alien invasion. A portal to another world will open at random coordinates, which you can see in the chat. 3 different types of aliens will emerge. Some equipped with long-range weapons and high knockback, others with a laser saber ready for close combat, and finally, those equipped with an astronaut suit. In Minecraft, we have piglins, illagers, and villagers. Now, with this mod, you will be able to find a new faction in an underground village. The Burrowers are its inhabitants, distant relatives of the villagers who adapted to a life underground with little light. They are also smaller and gray in color. Their utility lies in being able to trade items with them using glow berries. Similar to piglins, you must throw the glow berries on the ground. They will pick them up and give you an item in return. There are 2 types of burrowers, each differing in the items they can offer. The chief burrowers, identifiable by their purple clothes, provide better items. Some items are unique to the mod, such as a disc and new patterns for vases. In addition to the burrowers, you can also encounter silver dwellers, which may drop meat if defeated. With Land of Goblins, you can find new creatures in 3 vanilla biomes: the desert, the beach, and a nether biome. There will be 3 variants of goblins, all of which are hostile, so don't try to make friends. When defeated, they can drop a blank totem or their hearts, each of a different color. By combining both items, you can create 3 new totems used to summon 3 mini-bosses, each of which must be generated in a specific biome. They are not too difficult, but since they can spawn enemies and negatively affect you during the fight, it can prolong the battle, especially if you don't have good armor and a sword that deals enough damage to prevent those who can spawn enemies from doing so. Defeating them will allow you to obtain a shell chestplate, 2 fiery swords, and a thorn grenade. We continue with underground inhabitants in the Sweet Tales update, where this mod adds tribes of Earthshroud, stone golems with their own life. They are neutral but won't hesitate to defend themselves if attacked by the player, as they are equipped with weaponry. In some of these underground villages, you can find an altar where you can summon a new boss using ender pearls, redstone chunks, and placing a drum in the center. By playing the drum with a right click, you can summon the Crimson Core, which may not seem like much at first, but will surely give you a scare. However, the central theme of the mod is making jams. Using sugar, water, a jar, and various extra items, you can make jams in a pot. This involves a mini-game where you must click at the right moment to advance in the jam-making process until it's done, or you can let it be made automatically in a boring way. You can eat the jams for positive effects, as there are several flavors to try, but be careful with sugar consumption. Steam Powered, the mod that won 3rd place in the voting, adds a variety of content, such as a polluted biome with new inhabitants exploring it using protective gear, a new deep walker consumed by a squid, and lastly, a giant coastal crab. However, these aren't the main focus. This is a technological mod, and you will start with a book that explains the basics, especially things not covered by the JEI mod. For example, it explains how to make a boiler using some blocks. The mechanism is relatively simple. A water pump is responsible for delivering water to the boiler through pipes, where the water is converted into energy for machines like the bot constructor, where you can create a helper, or the vehicle constructor, which produces two modes of transport for traveling long distances quickly and comfortably. The Ink is a mod that adds two structures to the world. The first is a temple built of bricks, inside which you'll encounter traps, a puzzle with arrows, numbers, and levers that I honestly couldn't solve, and blocks that, when destroyed, summon giant titans. Defeating them and opening the barrels can provide items that might be useful later. The second structure is an arena, an open and ruined combat area. Destroying the block in the center starts the Horde, a wave-based enemy battle that increases in difficulty as you progress. Various enemies will appear, but you will always be able to locate them to avoid downtime between waves. At the end of the Horde, the boss battle against Blot begins. Blot is an enormous centipede that summons enemies to fight you while attacking from a distance. The fight is not impossible but challenging and complex due to its duration and the number of enemies encountered. With the items dropped by the boss, the monsters, and the barrels, you can create 3 weapons. The Grimoire. Left-click to launch an ink ball that deals damage on impact. Holding right-click charges an attack that launches all nearby mobs into the air, then drops them at high speed. The Soul Brush. Right-click to mark a block, causing anyone who steps on it to receive a mark. When the marked enemy dies, they explode, damaging nearby enemies. You can also convert it into a black mark with right-click, and if a marked enemy steps on it, they explode instantly. The Soul Slasher, a melee and ranged weapon that shoots a penetrating slash. Fated Conquest is a boss mod with a very simple mechanism. Each boss has its own structure, and inside it you'll find a block that, when mined, will spawn the boss right in front of you. 2 of these bosses rely mainly on spawning enemies during the fight. You'll need to kill these enemies quickly, or they will accumulate rapidly, potentially breaking your armor or killing you during the battle. The Furious 10 are the simplest. They engage in melee combat and, once defeated, separate to continue their assault. The last 2 bosses are more problematic as they have varied attacks, one with a melee sword attack and the other with ranged attacks. You'll need to stay vigilant to avoid taking too much damage, as the fight becomes more challenging as it progresses. Some bosses will drop special items used for combat, such as those that shoot projectiles, cause explosions to eliminate nearby enemies, or the rarest of all, a sword that launches you into the air with each hit. This could be useful for a quick escape. Additionally, you can create an item that takes you to a new dimension by combining the keys. Call of Yucatán is a mod inspired by Mayan culture, where you can find a temple in the jungles. Inside, you'll encounter spawners of skeletons wearing masks and wielding weapons made of obsidian. An important feature of this dungeon is its puzzles, involving sunlight rays that you must redirect to unlock chests covered in foliage or break indestructible blocks to progress to lower floors. Be careful not to cross one of these rays. On the final floor, you will find a sculpture that, when broken, will summon Kukulkan, the feathered serpent, or at least an interpretation of it. It flies and can launch you into the air, dealing significant damage with each hit. The second dungeon is a tomb, where you'll encounter other creatures blocking your path. This one is much simpler, but you won't be spared from the traps you might activate with levers. You can also progress by activating the correct mechanisms. Similar to the previous dungeon, breaking the sculpture will summon the boss Apuk, the deity of death and war. Apuk has an area attack that affects those on the ground, which can be avoided by jumping at the right moment. He deals a lot of damage with each hit, and escaping won't be an option, as the next room contains versions of blazes that shoot poison darts. Exploring the dungeons, defeating enemies, and finding jade in the mines will allow you to access new combat gear. Additionally, if you defeat the bosses, you can create 2 weapons: a fist capable of performing Apuk's attack and a wand that shoots a concentrated sunbeam to deal significant damage. Each weapon has a cooldown period after use before it can be used again. You can also summon 2 creatures: a stone jaguar that must be summoned while it rains and can carry you and a friend on its back, and a golem stronger than the Iron Golem, which requires the blessing of Kukulkan effect to be summoned. We have embarked on an exciting journey through several Minecraft mods today. From boss battles in Fated Conquest to challenges in dungeons inspired by Mayan culture in Call of Yucatán. Each mod has led us to explore new structures, solve complex puzzles, and face formidable enemies. In Steam-powered, we mastered technology, constructing everything from boilers to vehicle builders, equipping ourselves with powerful weapons for our adventures. Meanwhile, in the Ink, we ventured into temples filled with traps and challenged giant titans summoned by the destruction of sculptures, all while acquiring unique weapons like the Grimoire and the Soul Brush. With each mod, we discovered worlds full of challenges and rewards, from new dimensions to powerful weapons and equipment. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through Minecraft mods today.